Hi. According to research, you're most likely between the ages of 18 to 35, according to YouTube's analytics. And I must tell you that if you belong to this age bracket, you must be aware of this concept that the biggest sin for the average man is actually to be average. Sorry, the biggest sin for the modern man is actually to be average. If you're an average man, nobody wants you. Women do not want you. You are disgusted by women. You disgust women. If you're average, companies do not want you working for them, or they may accept you in menial roles. If you're average, family members will not want to be associated with you. They will not want to. And then the worst part about not being average is if you have been on social media lately and you have made a choice to not be average, you may be presented with a lot of alpha gurus, alpha male, red pill guys who tell you to be exceptional. To be outrageous. But that is not the reality of most guys. So I'm here to tell you that being average does not necessarily mean you have to be the Chuck G. Because being average could be put into context. So who is the average guy? Or who is the average person? The average person who is someone who's not looking up to anything. He's just living a monotonous, boring life. He's not bothered. He's not looking towards anything. He has no goal. He has no vision. So how can you not be average? I think I have two advice here. The first is to be authentic to yourself. And if you hear this about being authentic, you'll hear it over and over again. Even by Naval Ravikant, who said you should escape competition by being authentic. And sometimes people misunderstand this concept of being authentic. Sometimes there are things that we really, really, really want to do, but we don't do them because that we are afraid of what other people would say, or it doesn't just sit well with other people. For example, look at the CEO of a Fortune 500 having a YouTube channel that talks about politics, that talks about spirituality. It doesn't make sense to probably the shareholders. They'll be wondering, this guy could potentially say something that could disrupt the perception of the company. So a lot of people in that case would have to, I'm not saying they have to, but that's not true. Look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk tweets whatever he wants to tweet, regardless. His company shares are still skyrocketing. Now, that is somebody who is... Elon Musk is an outrageous example because by default, he's a billionaire, so he's about the 1% of the 1%. So yeah, it's safe to say that he may have been a wrong example, but in this context, he's about the best. This is somebody who is living authentic to himself. But I think someone who has inspired me a lot was one of my hostel teachers, one of my hostel masters. He was very athletic. He was very, very jovial. He was very smart. He could teach confidently about 6 subjects. And then it was no surprise when he was granted a Canadian visa. It was completely mind-boggling to see him go from a hostel master to traveling to Canada. Now, how he did it, I really do not know, but it was really, really interesting. So, after you become authentic to yourself, your second step is to consciously work towards that authentic self, or work towards a vision that you have for yourself. And I say everything that regards improvement should be leading towards a vision. If you don't have one, you can use a method called the anti-vision method. I think it's taught by Dan Koh. And it makes a lot of sense because we live in a world that is very, very negative. And because it is so negative, it's easier for you to know what you don't want. So By knowing what you don't want, it's easier for you to also know what you want. So it's a little bit of a mind trick because, like I said, if you sit people down and ask them what do they want, they're very, very vague. But when you sit down and ask them what they do not want, they can list 100 things. Now, flip it, and from there you can get what they want. So, have a vision you're working towards. Make it intentional. Make it a conscious effort to keep progressing towards that vision every single day. Like I said, it doesn't have to be so grandiose of being a top G. It's like Jordan Peterson says, climb a dominance hierarchy. Now, to be very sincere, I know it's very difficult to climb any hierarchy these days. Like, it's very difficult to be the number one basketballer. But hear me out. I have this analogy that I tell people. You have 10 basketballers, you're a marketing director, you have 10 basketballers lined up. That is the number one basketballer to the number 10 of the best basketballers. And then your marketing might pick the number one basketballer. But what if I told you that the number 10 basketballer has 30 million social media audience? Magically, the script has flipped. Because this guy, number 10, who has 30 million social media followers, is on a different game compared to the number one basketballer, who probably has like 1 million, and he's just, like I said, the best basketballer. You could have 10 million, but the 30 million guy is on a different level. Maybe he has a podcast, he's documenting his journey, he's giving content, but he has raving fans, basically. And you can see how he has basically changed, he has escaped that competition because he's authentic. Now, I'm not saying number one is not authentic. No, but I'm saying is number 10 has a different game that he's playing, which completely sets him apart. Maybe if the NBA league wants to use people for the face of NBA, there's a high chance they is number one. But for the sake of marketing, to have a higher reach, there's a high chance that it's the number 10 basketballer that a lot of marketing companies will go after. Also, like I said, work towards a vision every single day. Now, it's quite sad because a lot of guys don't get this concept. To be very honest, when I say most people are average, it's reality. Most people are average. So they grow up with average dads. And average dads were respected by women. But these days, no, women do not want to respect the average man. And I know this when I see a lot of women say they don't want to do things for men, but they do them for me. This is not a way of me bragging. This is a way of me telling you that I am nowhere close to where I want to be in life. But there's a way I carry myself. There is a way I act. There's a way I think. That they know this guy is not average. Like I said, there's nothing special here. I'm not earning $10,000 per month. I don't carry them out. I don't flex. It's very simple. My clothes are very simple. My perfumes, sometimes I don't even spray anything. But I get respect. And that is what I also want you to get. You don't have to be the top G. You don't have to show off. You don't have to have the best watches. Like when it comes to that, we all know a couple of guys who are not as attractive or are not as flashy as some other people, but still bag a lot of women, or they bag women that are better than the women that the rich guy bags. So, in summary, please, I really hope I've sold you on the idea of not being average. And that one more thought came to my head by Jordan Peterson when he says that it's okay to climb one dominance hierarchy, but you see the guy who climbs multiple dominance hierarchy is seen to be a god. Now, I know this may have been a wrong example after I mentioned you don't have to be the top G to be above average. Yeah, but just for those of you who feel like you have multiple interests you want to pursue, you should feel free to pursue those interests. feel free to listen to what is authentic to you, and there you will really embrace your core, embrace your masculinity. So I really hope this video is something that makes you make a conscious effort to not be average, to make you make a conscious effort to think different, to be authentic, to work towards a vision or a goal actively, to take life more actively, to progress towards something. So thank you, that's it. Thank you very much. Kindly share my video with somebody who you think will gain value from it. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon, and bye for now.